Hey everybody, it's Qqcknd and welcome back to another Tattoo Talk Tuesday. Again and again, thank you for all the support and the user submissions. And today I want to talk about something that is by far the most asked question I ever get. And I usually answer it on Tumblr, so there's that. So today I want to talk about how to make an appointment with a tattoo artist, do's and don'ts. And I'm just going to tell you how I do it, and if you have your own way, if you have your own success, if you have your own tips, please let me know. So the very first thing that you have to do, and if you haven't done that yet, this is what you have to do. Find the tattoo artist you like. And people ask me, how do you pick your style? How do you know what tattoos you even like? And that's something you have to really think about, or I don't know, it's another video. So first you have to pick the tattoo artist you like. For me, I pick almost all of my tattoo artists that I like through Instagram. Now, it used to be Tumblr, and then it kind of just turned into Instagram. But there are still people I see on Tumblr all the time who, they put their stuff out there, they get reblogged, whatever. You look them up, you get into it. That's how I used to look up people on Tumblr. But I feel like Tumblr has kind of turned into a very close-knit kind of thing, and there are still tattoos on Tumblr, but they're more aesthetic and not putting yourself out there. So I think Instagram is a great way to find tattoo artists. It's a great way to find portfolios and look at them. I have an entire video on how to pick your perfect tattoo artist. I can leave a link for that. And if you want me to improve this video because it is a little old, let me know down below and I can refresh that video at any time. If you're still into it though, I'll include how to pick a perfect tattoo artist for you. Watch that video, watch this video, and now, how do you make an appointment with this perfect tattoo artist? So you're gonna need a phone or a computer. And because I didn't have a computer until I moved in with John, I do almost exclusively all my tattoo work on either my iPod Touch or my cell phone, my smartphone. So you're gonna want to find the tattoo artist that you like through Instagram. Now, go on Instagram or our tattoo artists on Facebook. I don't know. So go on there, and I'm just gonna search Jessie Preston for an example because she's one of my favorites. And I have had to do a lot of back and forth emailing with Jessie Preston because she was located in Montreal. So I feel like this is probably a good example for all of us in this video. So you're gonna want to go on your tattoo artist Instagram here. And you can see that Jessie has a big portfolio of her tattoos and little things, like there's a selfie and basically a lot of tattoo work. So I look at this and I'm about it. I like the lines, I like the color, I think it would go great on my body, I even liked it. So I like to go through a tattoo artist portfolio and kind of pick out what I like and do not like. Jessie, I like all around. Like, these are fucking amazing. Once you find an artist that can do no wrong in your eyes, or you pick out what you do and do not like I really like this a lot. But for example, if you were like, oh, I'm not looking for black and gray, you would kind of keep a mental note of that, like, oh, I like their style, but I don't like their black and gray. This is not the case for Jessie, but just in case. She doesn't know I'm making this video. This might be awkward if she ever finds it. So go through their portfolio and you're about it. And I usually follow an artist so I can keep up to date and really solidify my love for them. So clicking on this, you can see that Jessie has some information on here. Her shop that she works at, and her email address. If your tattoo artist is playing hard to get and they don't make it this obvious, stay tuned and I'll cover that. But for now, if Jessie didn't have her email address on here, I would click on the shop that she works at, and here's more information about her and similar artists who work at her tattoo shop, and an address and a phone number. Now, you can skip this whole process and just call the shop directly and ask, how do I make an appointment with Jessie Preston? And they'll be like, hey dude, listen up. But if you're like me and you don't want to talk on the phone ever, here's Jessie's email address. So remembering that email address and going to your email, Avi, if you know how, pulling up a new message. So this is where I get a lot of questions. And I'm going to walk you through as if I was going to make an appointment with Jessie. So earlier this year, I had 2 tattoos by Jessie that I had done. And because I had to correspond with her through email, from a different country, I'm going to show you some of the things that I did to help me out. First of all, you're going to want to do a subject line. And I get questions about this all the time, like, what do I even put in the subject line? For Jessie, she was coming to New York City, and I wanted to grab her while I could. So I would say something like, New York tattoo. You could say question, you could say inquiry, or you could show a little bit of your personality and say something like zapper. Usually I try to break the ice and maybe not make things too complicated and too scary, so I'll usually throw like something a little silly in the mix. Or if she's going to be in New York a couple times, I would say something like New York, January, inquiry. Or something along the lines of New York, January, space, available, question mark. And this is a good title if you maybe missed your mark and the person, you're kind of running late, maybe you saw their Instagram post a week later and you're wanting to know, like, hopefully they still have space when they're going to be going on tour. So if you're emailing someone for the first time who maybe lives in your city and they're not on tour, honestly, I would have a tattoo subject line. I would have the subject line be something about the lines of tattoo appointment scheduling. Oops, I can't spell. Basically, your subject line can be so YOLO, it does not matter. I wouldn't make it crazy, and I wouldn't make it wordy. I would make it very flat, basic, to the point, 4 words at the most. If I was gonna email someone from Philadelphia, like Mike Ski, when I emailed him the other day, my subject line was just more eye tats, because I have received many eye tattoos from him. And I feel like he'll read this and he'll know, like, oh, I remember her. And he'll be able to decide what he wants to do. After you have your subject line and you have that all under control and you found your artist and you found their email address, the next thing to do is to type out your email. And this should be so stress-free. Like, I can't stress it enough. The more simple, the better. So I'm going to tell you all the things that you should leave out of your email and then tell you what you should include. So when I like to email an artist for the first time, I try not to be too specific on why I want the tattoo. So if you have a long backstory about your tattoo, like, oh, I'm getting that tattoo because it's an instrument and I used to play piano and then my piano caught on fire. Now I don't have a piano anymore, so I want to tattoo the piano. If you have a really long story like that, I would recommend keeping it out. If I have a tattoo that's about something specific, if I am a little unsure of what I really want the tattoo to be of, I'll include keywords that kind of induce some sort of imagery. For example, when I got my Joanna Newsom tattoo by Mike Ski, I was like, I know how large I want it to be, and I want it to have the words "Mercy Me" in it because those are Joanna Newsom lyrics, and I wanted to celebrate Joanna Newsom, but I am unsure of what I want the tattoo to be. I included a link to a lyrics page of one of her songs. So he could decide if he wanted to read through it and maybe see some keywords that would inspire him. But I did not include a link to the song because I feel like he would be less likely to listen to the song and would feel more burdened to listen to the song rather than kind of just page through the lyrics, maybe see some keywords and get inspired. And that's exactly what he did. When I came to the shop, I noticed that he had the lyrics page pulled up on his computer, and he had pulled some lyrics from there, and that's how the tattoo was developed. So I would recommend keeping your heart, I know this is a little brash, but keeping your heart out of the initial email so you can keep it brief but still get your message across without being too emotional. Because I understand that tattooing is a very emotional process for somebody. Your tattoo artist is an artist and they are providing a service to you, so you have to keep it kind of service oriented. Like if you were to email your plumber or something, you wouldn't be like, it's breaking my heart that it won't flush. You would say something along the lines of, I'll be home tomorrow at 3. Toilet isn't working again. So I try to keep my heart out of my emails. When I'm emailing people, I try to start off the email something along the lines of, Hi, I'm looking to get a tattoo from you. If they're touring, I would say, I noticed that you're going to be in New York City between these dates. Do you have any availability for those dates? If it's somebody who is stationary and you are traveling to them, I would say, Hi, I plan on traveling to New York. What kind of availability do you have? And I would plan something a little further in advance. Like if I was going to go to New York and get tattooed by Mark Cross, I would email him and say, what do your dates look like in January? And then he would reply with some dates, and then I would figure out what works best for me, schedule it with a bus or whatever, and then get back to him. I don't like to email tattoo artists with dates I'm available. I don't want to be like, what do you do on January 22nd? Because I feel like this is a little abrasive, and I like to keep things very airy, very optional, and kind of find a nice medium for both of us. If you're emailing somebody who is in your town, you really don't have to travel to them, the dates don't really have to align, I would say something along the lines of, I'm looking to make an appointment. That way, they can throw the date to you and it doesn't matter. So with those kind of things in mind, like if they're touring, what's your availability? If you're traveling to them, kind of a month that you plan on traveling by asking them what dates they have in that month. If it doesn't matter, then you ask them and they'll tell you. I like to leave that very close to the top of the email and kind of one of the most important things of the email. Secondly, your idea. When you're talking about your idea, you have a couple options. If you have no idea what tattoo you want, but you know you want to be tattooed by this specific artist, you can say something along the lines of, I noticed the flash sheet that you just put out and I really love it. Or you can directly talk about a post that may have inspired you. And your artist can decide if they want to do a variation on that piece or not. For example, if I really like this flower, I would send Jesse an email that said, hey, I saw that flower that you posted the other day. I was really into it. Would you like to do something like that again? Let me know. Something like that. So Jessie could do something along the lines of that exact same flower. She could change the colors. She could change the way it flows. And once she fits it to go on you, it will be completely different and unique. If you know exactly what you want, and it might not necessarily be something that your artist has posted before, you could say, for example, when I got my wolf tattoo by Jessie Preston, I know that there are a lot of different wolf tattoos out there, and I told her what I didn't want. I said that I wanted a wolf that has a full body and wasn't just the head. And I included these embarrassing pictures of my leg next to a ruler. Because I have other tattoos, I like to include that in my email so tattoo artists know kind of a size variation of how big and small that they can go. And so the tattoo artist is aware that they will be working around other tattoos. If you don't have other tattoos, or you're getting tattooed on a part of your body that doesn't have tattoos yet, I also like to include that too. When I was emailing Jessie about another tattoo I have of a swimmer girl, I told her that I only had one other tattoo on my upper thigh. This kind of gave her an idea that she could play around, maybe use colors and different themes that were different and not necessarily the theme that is already my leg. But I think that this is good information to include, because if you do have a theme, or you do have a specific color pattern in mind, or if all your tattoos are traditional, these are kind of things I like to kind of mention, but not necessarily make the focal point of the email. When I emailed Jessie, I told her I had 3 or 4 tattoos around the wolf, and then I told her how big the space was, and I included a ruler in the picture. Except she's from Canada, so I don't know if the ruler helped. No, she's not from Canada. So these are little things I like to include in the email if I am getting tattooed by someone who is not local. If I am getting tattooed by someone who is local, I like to include little things like that, but I also try to include in the email that I am available for consultations. For example, if I was going to get that wolf tattoo by someone who is in Philadelphia, I would include in my email, "Hi, I'm looking for a medium-sized tattoo, and I have a couple other tattoos on my right leg at the time. Let me know if you would like a consultation, if you would like me to stop by the shop for a consultation before we get started." I think that this is really helpful, because you can go into tattoo shops and sometimes they'll pull out a sheet of tracing paper and they'll trace the area of where they will put the tattoo. And this is more helpful for them, so they can draw it directly in this space. If you're working with somebody out of the country, I would include as much information about the space as possible. So if you know exactly what you want and you don't want it to change at all, I would include inspiration pictures. And a lot of artists kind of ask for these nowadays, because there are so many things out there and so many tattoos on the internet that sometimes it's a lot easier for you to just include, "I was inspired by this picture," or "I was thinking about this picture when I thought of the tattoo idea," and just include like one pretty clear picture of what you're talking about. Finally, I like to include some sort of size idea of a tattoo. For example, when Holly and I got our keyhole tattoos the other day, I included in the email that I wanted the tattoo to be about the size of a Christmas tree Reese cup. And I remember Holly was like, "What are you talking about?" But I was like, doesn't that paint a perfect picture in your mind of how big that you want it? I try to talk about really common, understood household items or items in the world to kind of do a size reference if you do not want to include exact measurements, because who can? So if you want a tattoo the size of a quarter, or if you want a tattoo the size of a CD cover, these are little things that I like to include in my emails. And I know that it's a little quirky, but it helps me too. So here is the email that I sent Mike Ski when I was going to get the keyhole tattoo. And it's "More eye tats" as the headline. "Hey, it's another eyeball tattoo, but have you seen any of these tattoos of a keyhole with an eyeball peeking through? A friend of mine and I would both love to have one from the infamous Mike Ski. With a size reference of about a Reese cup, a Christmas tree Reese cup. I included a picture of a reference. Let me know." So this was kind of basic, and he is in Philadelphia, so obviously I can be a little more vague, but in my personal experience, the more vague I am with my tattoos, the more I can rely on the artist to do what they do best and to create and imagine different things. And that's why I like to be very unspecific about what kind of tattoo I want. If you know exactly what you want, I recommend including the specifics. But like I said, if you pick a tattoo artist who can do no wrong in your eyes and you love everything that they're producing, or you love everything except like 1 or 2 things that they're producing, I think leaving it up to them is your best bet. And that's why I try not to be super, super specific. But like I said, if there's stuff that your tattoo artist doesn't do, like if you love your tattoo artist, but you hate the way that they tattoo roses, I would say, hey, I want a tattoo of a animal skull, but I don't want any roses included. There. That gives your tattoo artist kind of free range to include whatever they want, but they know in their mind that they're not going to do any roses. And you don't have to be like, because the roses suck. Just, that's all you have to say. I hope some of these tips helped you, and like I said, less is more with tattooing, with emailing your tattoo artist, and I think that it does not have to be a stressful process. I think that it can be super easy and super fun, and a great way to communicate with your tattoo artist without writing a 5-paragraph essay. I would include kind of an idea of when you want to get the appointment done, kind of an idea of what the tattoo is going to be and what you do like in their tattoos, kind of a size reference, maybe a very specific one if you're not going to be able to meet with the tattoo artist beforehand, or kind of a vague, playful one, or agree to come to the shop beforehand and get a sketch done. And then finally, leave some contact information so they can get back to you. Obviously, they can reply to your email, but sometimes I like to include my phone number just in case they read all these emails all day and it's just so much easier for them to call you and be like, yo girl, you getting this tat or what? Plus, sometimes they include your phone number in their calendar book just so they can keep everything organized. Let me know if this video was helpful for you, and if you are super into Tattoo Talk Tuesday. Sorry this one was way more information based and not so much question and answer based, but honestly I get this question so much and I just wanted people to know that it is a super easy process and emailing your tattoo artist can be so pain-free and so easy, and I encourage everybody to do the same. And let me know what you'd like to see in another Tattoo Talk Tuesday. I have another super really popular question for next week in mind about, did I make my tattoo artist jealous? So stay tuned for that, and I have a Plush of the Month video that just came out today. Vlogmas 5 Fact Friday. I love you guys so much. Thanks for the support, and until next time, bye!